From the start, our relationship was predictable and routine. Amy and I met at a work event, bonding over shared experiences with life, marriage, and navigating blended families. When we got married, it felt like everything fell into place. We both had kids from previous relationships, so building a family took some work, but we managed, or so I thought. As time went on, we settled into a routine of raising the kids and focusing on our careers. Life had its challenges, but we always made time to catch up over dinner. Even after the kids moved out, we had a life filled with shared responsibilities, vacations, and support for each other's struggles. Everything seemed fine until the night Amy confessed. It was a typical evening, just the two of us having dinner. I'd made stir-fry since she was late from a school event, which was unusual. We always had dinner together, a tradition we kept to stay connected. Halfway through refilling my coffee, I realized I hadn't fully heard what Amy had just said. She was staring at me, waiting for my response. "What?" I asked, confused. "I don't get it. You're what?" "I've been seeing Cody," she said quickly. "The new gym teacher at school, Cody Bakerfield. You've met him." "I know who Cody is," I replied, feeling uneasy. "So you're seeing him. What does that mean?" Amy sighed. "We've become friends. I've been having lunch with him, and after school we've been going out sometimes." "Going out?" I asked, baffled. "Are you having an affair?" "Yes," she said, watching me closely. I stared in disbelief. "Yes, what, you're having an affair?" "Yes," she repeated, nodding solemnly. "Cliff, I'm telling you because I love and respect you. I always have." "Respect me? Love me?" I gasped. "It's true," she insisted. "You've always been my number one. Marrying you was the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you so much. I just couldn't keep seeing him without telling you." I stared at her, hoping this was some kind of joke. Amy loves me as much as I love her. She couldn't really be having an affair, but she didn't take it back. I was lost. "I don't even know what to say, Amy. I'm so confused." "Don't feel bad, Cliff," she said. "Yes, I've been seeing Cody, but he's just a friend. I don't love him. It hasn't changed anything between us." I clenched my jaw, still in shock. "How can you say you love me?" "I do love you," she insisted. "We have a great marriage, and I'll always value that. But I need other male friends too." "I've never had a problem with your male friends," I replied. "I know, and I appreciate that. Cody's just a friend, but he's younger and makes me feel like a teenager again sometimes." "Stop," I shouted, my patience snapped. "I don't want to hear the details of your affair. Spare me, Amy." Seeing my anger, she softened her tone. "I'm sorry, honey. I just wanted to be honest. Yes, I'm seeing Cody, but no one knows. We've been careful. And that's supposed to make me feel better." "I know it doesn't. I just want you to understand, Cliff. Cody will never replace you. He's just a fun distraction. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just couldn't hide it anymore." Seething, I repeated her words. "A fun guy. A distraction. Something I'll never miss." "You selfish, conniving," I spat out, my face burning with rage. "How could you?" She let me vent. "I guess I deserve that." I couldn't take any more. I stood up so fast my chair tipped over. Without a word, I stormed out of the room. "Where are you going, Cliff?" Amy called. "Don't leave, please." "I need to think," I shot back. "Give me a minute." I walked out the back door, leaving her behind. I stormed out onto the deck, furious and trying to catch my breath. An affair, she's cheating on me. The disrespect made my blood boil. I pounded the railing, trying to calm down. I'm usually pretty level-headed, but hearing my wife talk about her infidelity was pushing me over the edge. For years, I'd relied on my calm demeanor as an accountant, keeping cool even with anxious clients. But this was personal. My wife of over 20 years was telling me she was seeing a younger guy from work. I'd met that guy Cody at a school event. Amy introduced him as a casual friend, and I foolishly believed her. Now I knew the truth. My mind raced with images of what she'd said. I took deep breaths, knowing storming back in and yelling wouldn't help. I had to stay calm and figure out a way to handle this. Yelling would only make her dig in, and that wouldn't get me the information I needed. I needed details to understand the full scope of this. After about 10 minutes, I felt my heart rate return to normal. I walked back inside to face Amy, who was nervously fiddling with her coffee cup. As I sat down, she glanced up at me, but I raised my hand to stop her from speaking. "Let's restart this," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm shocked, Amy. I never expected this." "You don't have to be, Cliff," she responded, her voice soft. I raised my hand again to cut her off. "Wait, what's your plan here? You think I'll just forgive and forget? You've been seeing someone behind my back, and I'm supposed to move on like nothing happened." Amy shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "Well, not exactly. I knew you'd be upset, but I didn't want to keep you in the dark anymore." I muttered under my breath, "Jesus." "So what did that slick guy say when you told him you were going to tell me?" "He thought it was for the best," she replied hesitantly. "That's what he said." "Not exactly," Amy clarified. "Cody's not a bad guy, Cliff. He feels terrible about sneaking around. We both do, really." "Yes, neither of us wants to ruin our marriage," she said, looking at me with a pleading expression. I was about to tell her she needed to end the affair when she sighed, her face hardening with determination. "This is tough, but now that you know, I want to keep seeing him. Not too often, just occasionally, and after school hours." I was stunned by her audacity and could only manage a sarcastic, "Oh, of course." We sat there in silence, the tension thick between us, until she finally spoke again, looking pained. "I'm so sorry, honey. I know this is hard, but he's a nice guy. We have fun together, and I do like him, but it won't affect us." "You've got to be kidding," I said incredulously. "No, it won't change anything between us. It hasn't so far, and it won't in the future. He's been a good friend to me, and honestly, I think he's been good for our marriage, too." "Really? You're out of your mind." "Cliff, think about it logically. Remember how tense things were last year? You even called me out for being difficult." Well, I was. "Our marriage was in a rut when I first started seeing him," she explained. "Oh, great. So he's a marriage counselor now?" I shot back sarcastically. She ignored the sarcasm. "Cody helped me adjust my attitude. I know you've noticed the change. We're more than friends, but I don't need to see him often, just occasionally when you're busy. I love you, Cliff. I want to grow old with you, you know that." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So you're not ending the affair? You want me to accept this?" "It will end eventually," she assured me. "He's younger, and we have different interests. Our feelings will fizzle out over time, just not right now." "You're crazy," I said, unable to mask my disbelief. "Please, Cliff, nothing between us will change. I'm still the same loving wife I've always been. We'll continue our relationship as usual. You haven't noticed anything different, have you?" I hated to admit it, but she was right. I never suspected the reason behind the recent spike in our sex life. When we first started dating, Amy and I were very active. But over the years, as the kids got older, things slowed down. Even after they left for college, we never fully returned to our old rhythm. I didn't see it as a problem, figuring most couples our age weren't tearing up the sheets every night. But now, knowing what I did, I realized Amy was right. We had gotten back on track. I couldn't deny I was happy that we were now making love several times a week, just like when the kids were younger. When she asked if I noticed any difference while she was seeing Cody, the truth was I hadn't. When I didn't answer, she spoke for me. "Of course not," she said confidently. "Even while seeing Cody, I've been here for you. We have a great sex life for our age, and I love it just as much as you do. Cody is just a small part of my life, nothing more. We've had a stable 20-year marriage, and you want to continue that?" I asked, incredulous. "Of course, I love you," she said. "But how can I stay married to a cheating strumpet?" I shot back. Her expression hardened. "I'm not a strumpet," she said sharply. "This is the first time I've ever cheated, and I've never been with a man I didn't have feelings for." "So you have feelings for him?" I asked, outraged. "How do I know you're not just waiting to replace me with him?" "It's not like that, Cliff," she insisted. "You're my husband, and I love you. I'll never leave you. I just need some time with Cody. Not all the time, and not forever, just until this urge is out of my system. It won't affect us, just like it hasn't for the past few months." I sat in silence, my mind racing with images of what she'd been doing with him. She kept talking, trying to justify her affair. "It's better for us in the long run, Cliff. I've been more relaxed, more uninhibited in the bedroom. You've noticed, right? I haven't turned you down, and I've let you do things you've wanted for years. Since being with Cody, I've been able to fully express myself. No more hang-ups. You must have felt the difference." She was right again, and it infuriated me. Our sex life used to be pretty straightforward, nothing wild but satisfying. Amy was a generous lover, and we both enjoyed ourselves. But over the last few months, she'd become incredibly passionate. I thought it was because the kids had left, or maybe a hormonal shift as she aged. Now I realized it was her affair with that young guy from school fueling the change. It was depressing. I'd always felt lucky to have her. Amy was a sexy divorcee, 4 years older, with 2 kids when we met. I fell for her right away, and we clicked. I was happy to marry her and raise her kids as my own. Her first husband was a deadbeat who abandoned them, and I stepped in as the only father her children knew. After 20 years of what I thought was a happy marriage, she dropped this bomb on me. "Say something, Cliff," she urged, watching me closely. "I know you're upset, but I don't want you to feel hurt. Let me help make this easier. You're still my number one." She stood up, smirking, and moved toward me seductively. "I'm here for you, baby. Let me know what you need." When she tried to sit on my lap, I pushed her away. She looked hurt, but didn't press it. I stood up abruptly and left the room. As I stormed out, she barely had time to say, "Wait," before I was out the door and into my car, driving aimlessly. I realized I needed space before doing something I'd regret. I considered heading to a bar to drown my anger. I found one nearby, parked, and ordered a beer, trying to clear my head. Later, I drove home with a plan. When I walked in, Amy was on her cell phone. She looked startled and whispered quickly, "I have to go. He's back. Bye." By the tense look on her face, I suspected she was talking to her boyfriend. It stung, but I stayed calm. I needed to follow the bartender's advice, gather all the information tonight before deciding what to do next. I sat back down at the kitchen table, the cold coffee cup still in front of me. Amy looked serious. "Cliff," she started, but I interrupted her. "Hold on. I think I need to know how this affair started. Maybe it'll help me process this. So how long, Amy? How long have you been breaking our vows? She sighed. Not long. We've been friends for a while, but it only turned physical a few months ago. She explained how Cody made her feel special and helped her explore her sexuality. She seemed relieved as she shared. So what now? I asked. You've been lying and cheating for months. How am I supposed to feel? You've been with a guy barely older than our kids, and I had no clue. You expect me to applaud your secrecy. No, Cliff, she said, reaching for my hand. I tensed but didn't pull away. I'm ashamed for deceiving you. I hated lying to you, but we were careful. I didn't want you to find out. Cody never pressured me. He was okay with seeing me occasionally and didn't want to ruin our marriage. That clearly changed, I said bitterly. Amy squeezed my hand. No matter what, I love you. Cody's a good guy, but he could never replace you. I told him we'd never be more than friends with benefits, and he agreed. We were discreet, even having lunch with other coworkers to avoid suspicion. No one ever knew. I'd sure you were a clever cheater, I snapped. Amy gave me a sad nod. On the outside, I was the faithful wife with a great job and friends. Inside, I was lying. I always saw myself as honest, but this affair made me hate myself. Our marriage is precious to me, and Cody was just temporary. My feelings for him don't compare to what I feel for you. I started to lose my sense of self because of the deceit. The solution is simple. Stop cheating. Yes, but I'm not sure I can right now, she admitted. I'd like to think I could just end it with Cody, and everything would go back to normal, but I doubt it. Why? I asked, frustrated. We've built a great life, raised 2 kids, and now have time to enjoy each other. If you love me like you say, giving him up shouldn't be a problem. She exhaled sharply and gave me a worried look. It might have been easy to stop at first, but now I'm not sure. Of course I love you, Cliff, but these past few months have shown me another side of life, and I've learned more about myself and my needs. I don't know if I can just go back to how things were, even if I wanted to. I've tried to be the same loving wife, but being with Cody has made me see other possibilities. I yanked my hand away, struggling to stay calm. Other options, huh? I snapped. You can't stop screwing him, is that it? I was good enough to marry and raise your kids, but now some young guy shows up, and I'm not good enough anymore. That's not it at all, she said quickly. You've always been the best husband and father I could have asked for, but after so many years of marriage, I've changed. We both have. It's just natural, not bad. People evolve. I glared at her, speechless. She continued softly. Cliff, I don't want to hurt you. I know it may not seem like it, but it's true. We're going to stay together, and nothing between us will change. I'll make sure of that. I love our life, our marriage, our kids, but I also enjoy this friendship with Cody. He makes me feel things I haven't felt in years. I hope you can understand and love me enough to let me have this. You witch, I whispered under my breath. If she heard, she didn't react. It's not a bad thing, Cliff. I'm always here for you. I just want things to stay as they are a little longer, not forever, just until I'm done with this. Then I'll end it with Cody and be yours completely again. I'm being honest because I don't want any more secrets. If you let me do this, I promise I'll make it up to you. I'll always be a good wife, and no one will ever know. Just give me this, and I'll reward you for the rest of our lives. This conversation was spiraling. I had started the night feeling great about my marriage, and within minutes, I had gone from a happy husband to a miserable, betrayed one. My wife now had a lover, someone younger and no doubt more exciting than me. It took me a few minutes to gather myself. This was a lot to process. I thought I could reason with her, make her end the affair, but it was clear now she had no plans to stop. She just wanted my permission to keep exploring her feelings. This was classic cheater's nonsense. You've been lying for months, and you're so good at it that I never suspected a thing. Now you admit to all the lies and cheating, promising to keep me as your husband, but how can I trust you again? You've lied not only to me, but to our kids, our friends, everyone. What's stopping you from changing your mind again? Maybe about Cody or some other guy in the future. Amy sighed in frustration because she knew I was right. She looked at me with teary eyes, wanting to argue but couldn't. I'd never do that, and you know it, she finally said. You've got some nerve, I said bitterly, acting so entitled, throwing your affair in my face. Why shouldn't I just leave you? I don't want a cheating wife. I should divorce you and be done with it. I expected those words to hurt, but Amy's expression softened. She looked at me with unexpected compassion and spoke with a new edge. I know this is hard right now, but divorce. That wouldn't be in your best interest, Cliff. Why? At least I'd have my pride. Her pitying look was infuriating. A divorce would hurt both of us, Cliff. At least I wouldn't have to deal with your affair. That's true, she said calmly, but I don't think you'd be happy with a divorce. Neither of us would. Her gaze locked onto mine. We live in a no-fault state. I get half of everything, the house, savings, retirement. And because you adopted Martha and Ravi, you'd have to help with their college costs. Plus there's a lemony. Since I don't earn much as a teacher, you'd be expected to support me. It could be a lot. I guess she and her lover had thought this through. So you take me to the cleaners, I said flatly. I don't want to, she said. I want to keep living and loving you like before. But if you divorce me, you'll owe a lot, and I'd still be free to see Cody. It'd be better for us to stay married. You'd have me as your loving wife, and we can keep having great sex. No one would ever know. I'll always keep you as my number one. Then she added in a sympathetic tone, I'll always be thankful for your open-mindedness about this, and I'll give you whatever you want. I just want some time with Cody. Not much, just a little. The rest of the time, I'll focus on making you happy. I was happy before you dumped this on me, I said bitterly. Now I know I'm just a fool putting up with my unfaithful wife and that idiot you work with. It's not like that, Cliff. I started to walk away, and she called out, Wait, don't leave, honey. We need to talk about this more, please. There's nothing to discuss, Amy. You've made your ultimatum. Now I have to decide if I can accept it. There's nothing to worry about, she cried. Nothing between us will change. I promise. I don't want you to think about anything except how much I love you for giving me this freedom. I'll do anything to make you happy. Then end the affair right now. She sighed in frustration, looked down, and whispered, I can't do that just yet, honey. I can't stop right now. Then there's nothing more to talk about. This conversation is over. I've heard enough. You've told me how you feel, and nothing I say will change your mind. At the same time, I'll never believe another word you say. I'm done trying to reason with a liar and a cheat. I went to the den and turned on the TV. I didn't care what was on. I was still reeling from the conversation. I thought about going to a hotel and leaving without a word. I was so angry I wanted to hurt her like she hurt me, but I knew walking out and getting drunk wasn't my style. Maybe I'm too rational or too boring to do something reckless. I felt numb and exhausted. It was like a nightmare. How could she do this to me? I watched TV for another hour. A game was on, but I couldn't tell you a single detail. I heard her leave the kitchen at some point. The sliding glass doors opened and closed when she went onto the back deck. I guess she was calling someone for privacy, probably her boyfriend, telling him how our talk went. She came back in a while later and entered the den. I was in the recliner, so she couldn't sit next to me. She stood close, watching me. "Are you okay, Cliff?" she asked sweetly. "I know this is a lot to take in, honey, and I want to help you." I glanced over and saw her give me a strange smile. "Do you want to talk more, or do you want to go to bed?" she asked. "You know I'll do anything to make you feel better. I really want to." I was disgusted. Offering me sex to ease my pain? Pity sex for her poor old husband. Probably her boyfriend's idea, sloppy seconds for the clueless husband. How cliché. The thought made me angry. I ignored her offer and went upstairs to bed. I was furious with my wife and considered sleeping in the guest room, but I decided she was the one who should leave. Why should I give up my bed? I got undressed quickly and climbed into bed. A few minutes later, Amy came in. She saw I was already under the covers, so she went to our bathroom and changed into a sexy nightgown she knew I liked. She turned off the light and slid into bed without a word, moving toward me. Knowing she was cheating, I had no intention of being physically engaged with her. I turned on my side away from her, hoping she'd get the hint. But she moved closer, tried to spoon me, and reached for my chest to turn me toward her. I pushed her hand away. "What a fool around, honey," she whispered softly. Suddenly, a disgusting image came to mind. I pictured my slender 51-year-old wife in Cody's bed, lying on her back, getting vigorously screwed. I imagined her grabbing him and smiling as he took what was once mine. Without turning, I pulled her hand off me and said, "Never again." "But honey, I know you're upset." "I just wanted toe." I flipped over and glared at her. She pulled back, startled by the anger in my eyes. Even in the dark, I'm sure she could sense my resentment. "Of course I'm upset, damn it." I spat. "I just found out I've been a fool for months. If you need sex so badly, go call Cody. I'm sure your young stud can handle your needs." Amy was shocked. I don't think she expected me to reject her like that. I stared at her for a moment, then turned back toward the wall. She didn't say a word and didn't bother me anymore. I had a hard time falling asleep, and I knew she did too.